Welcome, everybody, to the Rope Break post-show for the Elimination Chamber, and it was a doozy, was it not, Eric?
I'm thinking pay-per-view of the year.
Pay-per-view of the year. This is head-to-toe one of the best shows I've seen, and I can't even lie anymore.
This
show
was TNA,
was absolutely
right?
Garbage.
This was TNA, right?
Yeah, this was TNA quality right here. There was one good match. One good. I mean, okay. I'll give the Chamber. The Chamber was it wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad match.
I would say 3 good matches.
You say 3?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Obviously, the 2 you're talking about, and I thought Swagger and Big E was pretty good.
Yeah. Looking at the list after you said that, I would agree that would be the only other match that I could say could be put in there. But we'll go through all of them for you guys. Just talk about it. I know this is just looking on Twitter, looking on Facebook. It's just there's disbelief on how this show actually went down, because potentially this show was going to be such an amazing way to transition right into the WWE Network, and instead it gives us a bad taste in our mouth about the WWE Network, because it's just potentially this had it could have been so good, and it wasn't that good at all. It was a pretty forgettable pay-per-view, but we'll go through everything. We started it off with the pre-show match, Cody and Goldust versus Ryback.
Yeah, it was mainly just a good hype match for the crowd, get the crowd going. Was nothing wrong with the match. It was a solid match.
Yeah, I mean for a pre-show match, it's what you'd expect.
Yeah, we both expected Cody and Goldust to go over, and they did. So that was nice. It was nice to see Larry the Axe accompany his grandson out to the ring, and Curtis Axel. That was nice to see. Always nice to see former wrestlers.
Yeah, he looked a little clueless, but it was nice to see him out there.
I was waiting
surprising.
for him. I was waiting for him to smack Curtis across the face at the end of the match for losing.
That's what we were hoping for. That someone would actually kick his ass for doing what he's done to the family's name for as long as he has. But yeah, it was an okay match. Nothing wrong with it. Cody Rhodes and Goldust did get the win. And then we went right into the pay-per-view. We started off with the Intercontinental title match with Big E and Jack Swagger. This match started pretry slow. It took a while to get both of them in. That
seemed like the theme of the night.
Yeah, that's going to be how we start basically every match here. It took a while to get going, but it ended up being a pretty solid match. Jack Swagger again didn't disappoint. He keeps doing well in these big matches, and Big E kind of looked a little lackluster, like he has been in the past too, in the last month since Royal Rumble.
Yeah, he was a little bit, but it seemed like he picked up towards the end. There was a lot of great back and forth counters, counter action there. Switching moves. That's how the match ended, basically, with Big E getting out of the Patriot Lock and enzuigiring him in the head, and that led to the big ending. But I thought it was a very good match as well. Jack Swagger has been doing very good lately, so I actually thought this match would be pretty good, and it actually turned out to be pretty decent. So I think both of those guys should be proud of what they did tonight, because they probably had the third best match on the card, I'd say.
Yeah, and then if we haven't mentioned it, Big E did end up getting the win. At one point, I thought Jack Swagger may have gotten the win, but they did give it to Big E, so he holds the title going into Mania. And who knows, maybe we'll have this match again for Mania, because if they were able to build on it a little bit and do this well at the Chamber, maybe with another month or 6 weeks, I think they said tonight till Mania for build, I think they could put together an even more solid match and better hype for the match. Then we went into the match that I thought was going to be really good. I was really looking forward to this match, and that was the tag team title match with the New Age Outlaws and the Usos. And this match never got off the ground, really. It started slow and it ended slow. There was no good middle. At one point, Road Dogg threw one of the Usos into the turnbuckle, and it looked like he actually really got hurt at that point. I don't think he was just trying to sell it. I think he was really, really hurt. And since that happened, it seemed like the match just went downhill from there, and nothing really transitioned.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple decent spots, but definitely a little bit of a letdown. I mean, I didn't expect this match to be match of the night or anything, but I definitely expected a lot more because lately those two teams have been doing pretty good work on Raw and SmackDown lately. But definitely, it was an okay match. It definitely let me down a little bit. I know Jeff predicted that the Outlaws would win. I said the Usos were going to win the titles, but seeing it from Jeff's point, this could use another 5 to 6 weeks of build-up, and I can definitely see this being a rematch at WrestleMania.
Yeah, and I think this is the only time I can say, yes, I was right, because you basically called everything else for the show. But nothing more really needs to be said about it. It was a decent little match. They didn't get enough time, and just nothing really transpired into the match. So hopefully they do get another match going into Mania, and the Usos do finally get their WrestleMania moment. Then we had another match that was tried to be hyped up, and it I don't think it ever got across the way the WWE wanted. And then this match itself between Darren Young and Titus O'Neil kind of did the same thing. Darren Young shined in this match as much as you can with him and Titus O'Neil. But I think Darren Young did a lot better of a job than Titus, but Titus ended up getting the pinfall. It's not the way I thought the match was going to go. I thought Titus was going to be pretty dominant in this match and almost bury Darren Young. But instead, Titus just snuck out with the win, and this trying to push Titus, it just keeps getting worse and worse, it seems, with the WWE.
Yeah, I think we both kind of thought Titus would dominate because I think he's obviously the one that they want to push and try and make a star out of, but that just wasn't the case tonight. I don't see a future for either of these guys, really. I mean,
no.
I don't want to, say someone doesn't have a future. That's kind of mean, but I just don't find either of these two really entertaining.
You're gonna say that's mean when you do all the Willow stuff.
I say some pretty mean stuff, but I really don't. These two don't entertain me. I mean, I'd rather watch, reruns of Great Khali on the Christmas special going.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean, and I agree with you. Not so much of the Great Khali Christmas special hour, but. Darren Young and Titus just don't. Neither are going to amount to anything. I mean, I'm not saying I'm Jim Ross and I'm a talent scout, but it's pretty obvious to see that neither of these guys are solo guys on their own. I know the internet wrestling community absolutely loves Titus O'Neil, or they did love him before this split even happened, and a lot of them thought that he could even be a main event caliber person, and he's not. He's at this point he's no better to me than Axel. I mean, he's not. So I think after this, I don't know where they're going to go with this, like we've talked about in previous episodes, but it's not going to transpire into anything for either man.
I can't believe we've spent this much time talking about it.
I know. I'm sorry. That's my fault. I go on a rant sometimes that didn't deserve that. So we're going to get into now the match that everyone was looking forward to, and it did deliver. That would be the Shield versus the Wyatts. I thought they had a really good match. I mean, definitely I would say the best match of the night. The Chamber match was filled with a lot of spots and a lot of action, but I think the Shield versus the Wyatts as a wrestling match that told a story and had a lot of great action was definitely the best match of the night. I know people on Twitter are calling it match of the year. Absolutely not. It was not match of the year. Just because a match is highlighted on a bad card, or it was supposed to be a good card, but it ended up being a bad card when you look at it, doesn't make it match of the year. But it was definitely a good match. I don't know. What were your thoughts on it?
I think it was definitely a very, very good match. Definitely match of the night. Like you were saying, I mean, I was reading my Twitter to you, different people I was reading from, just saying that this match was so amazing that people were saying, "Oh my God," the whole match, It was definitely very good. I didn't see. Maybe I just didn't watch it enough or pay close enough attention because I was looking at Twitter and stuff. But I mean, it's probably definitely a match I'd like to rewatch in 30 days.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know, it definitely was match of the night. All 6 men were very intriguing. They all got their moves in and all that. The question at the end of the day is going to be, you had all 3 Wyatt members surrounding Roman Reigns at the end. Roman Reigns tried his hardest to fight out of it, but the numbers game was just too much. Roman Reigns got a little taste of his own medicine. Seth Rollins obviously got put through the Spanish announce table. Rest in peace, Spanish announce table. And where was Dean Ambrose? He got tossed over the railing by Bray Wyatt and was never seen from again. So will that play in the storylines? I think so.
Yeah, I think personally I was looking for the break here. That break didn't happen. But I think you're right. I think the story after this is going to be, where was Dean? Why wasn't he there to help him? Because obviously Seth couldn't do anything. He was slammed through the announce table. It was a cool moment too. But yeah, I think that's going to be the story of Dean versus Roman now. I don't know where the split's going to actually happen. I know there was talk of doing a triple threat match at Mania with all Shield participants, but I don't know if that's actually going to transpire now. I don't know where they're going to take it from here. I don't know if they're going to have another match and the split's going to finally happen at WrestleMania now or what, but I'm definitely intrigued to see where they take it.
Okay, I'll throw this to you. What would you think about Dean Ambrose joining the Wyatt family?
That would be crazy. I've never thought about that, and that would go over real well, I think, because he is insane.
Mm-hmm. He is.
Like, for anyone that hasn't watched Dean or he portrayed Moxley before even being in WWE versus NXT.
Yeah, FCW.
Yeah, what was it, like XP to
FCW?
Yeah, something like that. He go back and look at his promo work. He does an awesome job, but he is literally, he plays the crazy guy really well. And I think if he was put into that role as a member of the Wyatts, kind of like what they were trying to do with Daniel Bryan for that short term before Daniel Bryan went crazy popular, and they had to take him out. I think if he was put in that role, I think it would go over really well, and he'd be able to play that part real well. That's definitely something to think about. I'm sure WWE. I'm sure that's not even crossed their mind, though, Eric.
I'm pretty much going to agree with you on that one, that it hasn't crossed their mind. But it is something to think about. Maybe that is what they planned tonight, with by him not being there to save Roman and just, where was he at the end? But with my thinking of WWE thinking is they won't even think about that. It'll just be, okay, Roman lost. They'll never mention, where was Dean? It'll never come up. It'll just be okay, they lost.
I think maybe tomorrow night, if they do have a promo together, because I know tomorrow night's Raw is going to be absolutely huge. Like, they have huge things planned for it. The launch of the network goes absolutely live tomorrow night at the end of Raw. So I don't know exactly how much they're going to promote their own storylines for WrestleMania tomorrow night because of all the legends coming back and everything like that. But I think what might happen is Seth or Roman might just bring up the question, Dean, where were you? And I don't know if it'll get too much talked about after that. But I think it will at least get mentioned. But I don't think it's going to transpire into much.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, and then the match that we're going to talk a lot about is going to be the Divas title match, and that was AJ versus Cameron.
To talk about.
There's not much to talk here.
Who won that match?
AJ won.
Okay, all right, next match.
AJ, we'll just talk about the end real quick. AJ won. There was a botched kick from Tamina to Cameron, or no, to AJ, and then Cameron was going to get the win, but Tamina put AJ's boot on the rope, and then AJ I don't even remember what happened after that, Eric.
I think they just disqualified her.
Yeah, it was just a disqualification. Yeah, and that's it.
Okay, next match.
This was a match that they didn't talk about. It was just thrown together. Why you throw Cameron out there? I can't even get into the Divas division right now. I just can't right now. That's it. That's all that there was for that match. Next match, we had Batista versus Del Rio.
Okay, next match.
I can't, because if I start talking about it, I'll just get really pissed off of how they use the women and the lack of female talent.
I meant next match after Batista and Del Rio, too.
Oh, man. We had...
I think the story of this match, of Batista versus Del Rio, was the crowd.
It was definitely the crowd. I mean, we had very early on Daniel Bryan chants, and those led into very early CM Punk chants.
Yep, and then it led into C chants, which is yes in Spanish.
Yes.
And we got Batista chants.
Yes.
And
we got Chris Jericho too, didn't we?
Yeah, we got a Y2J chant.
Yep. And you know that's got to piss him off so much, Batista.
Yeah, because Batista has been really getting on the fans and stuff. You know, he doesn't understand why they hate him. I mean, it's really hard to say, because crowds haven't been this way in a long time. Like, they don't care who you are. If you're not Daniel Bryan or whoever they like at the time, they just don't like you. If you're taking a spot from their favorite person, they don't like you, no matter who you are. I mean, it's been like that with Orton and Batista lately, and others.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing, is that it's not necessarily that they don't like Batista. It's the fact that he's come back and he's taken a spot from someone that they have gotten behind for a full year now. Like, it's been a slow build up for
someone who's
Bryan.
Worked their ass off all year.
And he's hands down one of the best in not just the WWE. He's one of the best in the whole industry right now. And
it's not just Daniel Bryan; it's others too. Like, I mean, this was probably one of the main reasons CM Punk is taking a sabbatical right now.
Yeah, and the thing with CM Punk is I know a lot of people are dwelling on CM Punk just being selfish about himself. I think it goes beyond CM Punk as himself. I think he's looking out for other people too. Someone like a Daniel Bryan, and even like a Dolph Ziggler, that he's publicly said is one of the best. I think he's just fed up with the way that things are going, and he's sick of people like Batista, just like the fans are. I mean, he always says that he's the voice of the voiceless, being for the fans, and some of it's a gimmick, but some of it is actually truth.
And the voice of the voiceless is also for those mid-card to lower-card wrestlers like a Kurt Hawkins, like a Dolph Ziggler, that
they can't speak up.
They can't speak up, they can't stand up for themselves in fear of being pushed down the card and used as a whipping boy, pretty much.
Yeah.
You know, CM Punk has enough power and, you know, likability around the WWE that he can say whatever he wants, pretty much. So, but on to the match.
I just thought that we have not really actually even talked about this match.
So this match started out with Batista came out first, and then Del Rio came out, and he had a crutch and a neck brace on, saying that he couldn't wrestle and all this stuff. Well, that was all just a work, and Del Rio attacked Batista with his crutch, beat him down with the crutch broke in half. You know, he wasn't injured at all. He just wanted to get the upper hand on Batista to start. So it started off, it was a slow match, like most of the matches have been. It picked up a little bit, and then, you know, it was really, the crowd was the story of the match pretty much, with all their chants. And in the end, it was Batista getting the win, and fans just were not happy.
No, and Batista needed to prove something to the fans in this match. Like, I know it's just Del Rio. It's not a WrestleMania moment. It's not even a main eventer at this stage. Del Rio's not a main eventer right now. But he had so much he had to prove in this match to the fans. Which, I mean, maybe he says, screw the fans. I don't care what the fans say. I'm in the spot, and you guys can just suck it. And that's fine. He can have that attitude. But I'm saying, as a fan, as someone that's passionate about being a fan of professional wrestling and looks forward to WrestleMania every year and wants to see the company grow to become something really fun and entertaining to watch again, Batista's not ready for the main event at WrestleMania. That's absolutely obvious after watching him tonight. He didn't move good in the ring, just like he hasn't been in the past.
Yeah, he's just looked very slow in the ring. He just doesn't look like he wants to, care about it, pretty much. It was just, I agree with you, he needed to prove that, hey, I can still wrestle, I can still go, because face it, he is in the main event of the biggest show of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And if we have another John Cena Randy Orton match from the Royal Rumble, and that's what Orton and Batista put on, that is just so bad for this company.
Yeah.
You got the WWE Network. You want as many people to buy this for $9.99. You want as many eyes on this product right now. What better way than to have Daniel Bryan or just someone that's gonna bring eyes to this new product, and instead we're gonna get, after tonight we're gonna have Batista versus whoever won the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
And it's just Batista has not proven himself. He hasn't earned it. If I would be okay with Batista if he came back and showed, hey, I can still wrestle, I can still carry a match, no matter what the fans said. But he hasn't proven that in the ring at all.
No, and if this was Batista before he left, I would be absolutely fine with this. Batista before he left was at the very top of his game, basically. Like, he left and he did the MMA thing. He's come back and he's not the same guy at all. And as much crap as I give people that leave for years and then come back, take The Rock, for instance. When The Rock came back and The Rock actually had a match that he knew of, he was training every single day with I think it was Miz and R-Truth when they were doing like the Cena and Rock versus Miz and R-Truth for the tag titles. It was like I don't even remember the pay-per-view, but it doesn't even matter. But The Rock actually was trying. He realized he was gone for a long time, and he realized that the fans deserve something better than just someone that's just coming in for a payday and whatever, and screw you, middle fingers up in the air. Batista's not the same way right now. Batista literally doesn't care, it seems like. It seems like he literally just wants to go in there, just get paid, and just cakewalk through the matches. And that's such a slap in the face to everyone that actually pays money in any capacity to the WWE, whether that's buying DVDs or merchandising, figures, tickets, pay-per-views. I mean, now with the WWE Network. It's just an absolute slap in the face when you have someone like that who is basically given a dream match. Like, there's so many wrestlers that would have a dream match to just be in the world title match at WrestleMania, and Batista just gets it from being off for how many years he was playing MMA, and it pisses me off. Yeah,
I would be okay with it if he proved himself that he deserved it, and he has not proven it. That's pretty much all that needs to be said about it.
Yeah. So basically, Batista did win, and he looks at Del Rio in the past, and he looks to the world title match in the future, and that leads us into the world title elimination chamber match, where we had Randy Orton versus Sheamus versus Christian versus John Cena versus Daniel Bryan versus Cesaro. And this match was it didn't disappoint at all in the area of action. There was definitely some really good spots. Everyone got to do their moves. Everyone got to have their false finishes after doing finishers. There's a lot of action on the outside, a lot of slamming on the steel, getting the pods included. Randy Orton at one time locked himself into a chamber and was kind of taunting people. So I mean,
till Sheamus broke-kicked his face.
Yeah, till Sheamus said, "I don't think so." And it was definitely an entertaining match. What did you think of it?
I thought it was an entertaining match too. we had the first 4 come out, which those 4 started in the pods. So Cesaro and Sheamus ended up starting out the match. Started off, it was a decent match, and then we got the rest of the wrestlers involved. Daniel Bryan was the next one to come out. He got the crowd going early. After that, that's when things started to pick up, is when Daniel Bryan got in. Then from there, Christian came in, then John Cena, and the last one was Randy Orton. So we had all 6 members of the match in the match at the same time, which I don't think they do very often. They usually have an elimination before the last guy comes in. So that was a little bit different than usual. Having all 6 guys in there was really nice. They did a lot of stuff on the outside, slamming into the cage, slamming down onto the floor there, the steel floor. Like I said, Sheamus bro kicked the side of the pod that Randy Orton was in after he locked himself in. My favorite moment happened to be Randy Orton did a suplex to Sheamus off of the top rope, and from there Christian was on top of the pod because Sheamus was chasing Christian at the point, and Christian jumped off and hit a pretty nice body splash right onto Sheamus and got the 1-2-3 to eliminate Sheamus first, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah, it was definitely a cool moment and definitely entertaining match. I don't want to take. I know, like we're saying some negative things about the show. I don't want to take things away from this match because all 6 men did a really good job, and especially an Elimination Chamber match, you're putting your body on the line in such a more extreme way than a normal match. So I don't want it to come off at all that I'm saying that this was a bad match. It wasn't. Towards the end, though, we have the Wyatts come out to surprise everyone.
It was the last 3. Yeah, it was the last 3. John Cena, Daniel Bryan, and Randy Orton were the last 3. Daniel Bryan, I think, eliminated Christian right after Christian eliminated Sheamus, and then Cesaro got taken out. I think it was an attitude adjustment that took out Cesaro, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't really remember off the top of my head, but that happened. So we were left with the final 3. Cena went and put the STF on Randy Orton, and Orton was about to... Oh, no, that's what happened, though. Cesaro, he tapped to the STF.
Yeah.
And then... Or he put it on Orton, and the lights went out, and the Wyatt family little video thing played, and magically they're in the ring, and Michael Cole's going, "Oh my God, how did they get in there?" Jerry Lawler, "Oh my God, how did they get in there?" Blah, 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 blah. So they had their little moment there, and they pretty much attacked John Cena and took out John Cena and allowed Randy Orton to pick up the scraps and get the win on John Cena there and eliminate Cena.
Yeah, he did the Sister Abigail to Cena. And then,
so what did you think about that? Was that a smart move? Was that a good move?
That's what I was predicting. I was kind of thinking it was going to happen earlier in the match. I probably should have thought that it would have happened later because they wanted to make Cena as strong as possible. But I had a bold prediction I was hoping for. But yeah, they came out and they attacked Cena. It sets up Bray versus Cena for WrestleMania, which is awesome in different ways because it puts Cena still in a main storyline and main match for WrestleMania, but not in a world title match. So people aren't going to be like, oh, okay, same old shit, and Cena's going to win. And on the flip side, it puts Bray Wyatt, whose stock keeps rising and rising and rising. Now it's he gets to actually fight against the poster boy essentially in the WWE. Yeah. So I think that's going to be really awesome to see them both go at it and see if Bray Wyatt can again, because both of them in my book have been in number 1 and 2 match of the year. So now you put those two together and they have a potential to have a really good match, but they just don't have the athleticism as the counterparts that they had in their matches for match of the years.
Well, if you look at the 2 matches for the best pay-per-view matches so far this year, Royal Rumble, Bray Wyatt versus Daniel Bryan, and this pay-per-view was the Wyatts versus the Shield. So Bray Wyatt has been involved in both of the best pay-per-view matches of this year so far. So you could have put him against John Cena, and we've seen Cena against Cesaro, so we know Cena can go. And it's going to be the biggest stage of the year. against Bray Wyatt on his very first WrestleMania and his big moment. I think this is going to be a really, really good match if it's done right. And I'm sure they are, because everything they've done with Bray Wyatt so far has been awesome. I mean, we've both been really impressed and entertained by Bray Wyatt so far. And it's still John Cena, because John Cena's not as bad as people want to, make him out to be. So that's it for that one. So we left with Daniel Bryan and Orton.
Which we both expected.
Yeah, and Kane came down, and he went to check on John Cena and make sure he was all right as they were pulling him out of the chamber. But from there, Daniel Bryan did a drop kick off of the top rope into Kane's face and knocked Kane out. So, of course, Kane stayed around after he recovered from that, and he started to try and take out Daniel Bryan. And he finally accomplished that after a third try and knocked out Daniel Bryan, allowing Orton to pick up the win.
Yeah, and then that's when you have the camera panning out to everyone with just disbelief. It's. I predicted this to happen. I predicted Daniel Bryan to again get screwed over, and I see it in two ways. One, I see all the fans' frustration because I'm frustrated with it too. At the same time, I think the WWE knows this, and I think they're going to give us. I have faith that they're still going to give us that moment with Daniel Bryan. I have to believe it's something is going to happen at WrestleMania. It can't be Daniel Bryan versus Kane. It can't be. If it's Daniel Bryan versus Kane, people will literally riot. I think it's in some capacity Daniel Bryan has to get added to this world title match, and he has to have his WrestleMania moment. If not, it's an absolute slap in the face to the fans, and there's been a lot of main people on Twitter we saw tonight very very vocal about it, with Mick Foley and Tommy Dreamer. I think Lance Storm even chimed in a little bit. If you're doing this to set up a moment for Daniel Bryan, then kudos to you, because the payoff will be worth it. But if you are doing this simply because you are blind as a bat and you don't even see what's going on, and you really just want to stick it to the fans and say, we don't care, we have your money, then there's nothing that's more frustrating than that. And I've had that frustration for a long time with the WWE, but I also have faith that they know what they're doing. They're going to fix this. Yeah,
and I'm like you were talking about, if right now, if you just look at things right now, you would think, okay, this is setting up for a Daniel Bryan versus Kane match at WrestleMania. Now, if you think about it, I mean, that match would probably be a pretty good match. It's not the match that we all want to see, but Kane can still wrestle. It's not like he was a slouch or anything, or he was shitty wrestler. Yeah. He's actually a pretty decent wrestler. I think it could actually be a pretty solid matchup. But I don't think anybody wants to see Kane versus Daniel Bryan. It has no meaning.
No.
It really doesn't. Other than Kane is the Authority's pet right now, and that's what they want. The only thing I could think of is I just really don't see how they can tie him into the world title match.
Unless it's a special referee. That's the only thing off the top of my head I can think of right now. But that would be absolutely horrific to not even put him in an actual wrestling match.
Yeah, and I just don't see how he would get into the world title match without something. I mean, the only way I could see it is if Hulk Hogan comes on there tomorrow, and he's named the general manager, and he listens to the fans, because Hogan's the fans' favorite as well, and he sticks Daniel Bryan in there somehow. But I think him versus Kane would make sense if they did it here soon. They did it tomorrow night, or they did it, hype it up this week and do it for the next Raw and have those two finally fight. But to reveal that Triple H is the one really behind it and get the Triple H versus Daniel Bryan match at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean, Kane versus Bryan at Mania would be stupid. What are you going to do? Have 6 weeks of we were Team Hell No, and now you've cost me for the last couple of weeks. I mean, his big beef is with Randy Orton. They can do the whole Triple H thing, saying that Hunter was behind it. They can do that, and it is what it is. It's just for everything that has happened in the last like 6 months, I'd say the only way to please the fans at this stage is for Daniel Bryan to have his WrestleMania moment in that world title match. And you're right. I don't see a scenario that brings him in outside of an outside person having more authority than another, with like a Hulk Hogan coming in as the general manager and going over them. I just don't see it. And even then, I don't see how it would make sense for the authority to be like, oh yeah, Hulk, you can have this general manager and you can have all the authority you want right now. Like, I don't know if they're going to tie it in with saying like his hosting contract says that like he gets to make like a match or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
But you're right. I don't see how this scenario is gonna work for the fans to be happy, and I think it's going to just end up putting a bitter taste in everyone's mouth with Daniel Bryan yet again. And it's like, how many times can they troll the fans with this crap?
Yeah, I agree. And the last thing about the Chamber that I wanted to mention was there was no Brock Lesnar at all. There was mentions of him being there and going to be on the actual pay-per-view in some capacity, and nothing at all. So that was just a fake rumor, pretty much. He is expected to be on tomorrow night's Raw, though. So that was the Chamber. I think we both were pretty disappointed with it. Obviously, it had one really good match, two solid matches, and the rest were, we could have slept through them.
Yeah.
So I think on a scale of to 10, I would give this pay-per-view a 5.
Yeah, it's in between 5 to 6, maybe 5.5 at the best.
Yeah.
And that's being generous, I think, because you're right. There's one really good match, one. For chamber matches, it's hard because it's like you kind of put them in a style of their own. It's hard to even judge with that because the chamber matches are always fun. But yeah, I mean, outside of that, if you take that match out completely, you have one really good match and you have one pretty good match. So you put in the chamber match and another good match. So it was definitely an below average show. But it did have a couple solid points too.
And like I said, I expected, you look at this card on paper and the way they've built things up, you expect this show to be really good, and I said, but WWE is going to let you down, and they let you down.
Yeah, I mean,
they let us all down.
On paper, this I was so high on this show. I was excited for this show, and then it's like
by the end of the night, I could just tell in your voice the wind was just out of your sails. You were like, this is, ridiculous.
Yeah, like just end it at that point.
Yeah, I don't even have WrestleMania.
Yeah.
but
yeah, and like we were saying, this did not give us the greatest feeling for the WWE Network tomorrow, even though I personally will be up at 9 a.m. watching the WWE Network as soon as it goes live for on-demand service to see how it goes and to watch a couple of WCW matches that I haven't seen in a very long time. And that's the thing is, well, like we talked about, fans are loyal, and even though we got this crap thrown down our throats tonight, we're still going to commit to the 6 months for WWE Network tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Well, I think probably later on this week, maybe on our Saturday show, we might get into it, but I think we might be able to knock out a quick 30-minute show on just the WWE Network and maybe talk about the NXT show. Maybe we can do that Thursday or Friday. Maybe Thursday night after the NXT show, we can do a quick little 30-minute show. But before we end the show, I definitely want to talk about tomorrow night's Raw because this is one of the biggest Raws in recent memory. So we have confirmed Brock Lesnar is going to be there, The Undertaker, which they haven't even hyped on TV at all. He's just reported to be been there. TMZ broke that Hulk Hogan is back, so they had to announce that Hulk Hogan was going to be back today. So they finally announced that on the pay-per-view tonight that Hulk Hogan is returning tomorrow night. So you got those three. There's a report that Ric Flair is going to be there. You're obviously going to have your Batista, your Orton, Triple H. all them guys are going to be there. So I just want to get your thoughts on what you think's going to happen tomorrow, what you're looking forward to the most.
Well, I think there's even going to be more surprises of legends or people from the past to show up. I think it's going to be a lot of hyping for this network. They've put a lot of time, a lot of money into this network, and getting the whole library that they have received over the years is going to be amazing to see. But yeah, I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of booking and planning for WrestleMania. I think it's going to get a little bit, obviously. Because it's the Raw right after the last pay-per-view before Mania, but I think it's going to be for the most part a big show, talking about the legends and talking about the network and hyping you up for the network. Obviously, the crowd is going to just go erupt when Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, it's going to be. I think tomorrow's crowd is going to be just like a Raw after the Mania.
Yeah, it's getting hyped like that. It's definitely one of the bigger shows that they've had in a very long time, and it's going to be exciting to see. It's going to have like one of those special WrestleMania feels, I believe, to it.
And so with Hulk Hogan coming back and Undertaker coming back, what do you see those two doing tomorrow?
I have no idea with Undertaker. I think Hulk Hogan's going to come out. He's going to thank the fans for all the support he's had over the years. Going to talk about like this is his last time in the WWE. Hopefully they do put him in a general manager role. I don't know if it'll be this quickly, but I think it'll be a fun moment with him. Maybe some heel, some big heel, maybe even Randy Orton, who knows, coming out and talking him up, kind of like what Randy did with Ric Flair a little bit for the old school show. But for Taker, I have no idea what they're gonna do with him. Maybe they do go the route of Undertaker, Daniel Bryan at this point. I don't know.
I kind of think that I'll start with Hogan first. I think Hogan should start off the show. I think that should be the very first thing. 8 p.m. hits. Michael Cole welcomes you to Green Bay, Wisconsin, and there you go. Real American starts playing.
Yeah.
I think that's how the show should start out. Start out with a bang. Hey, the WWE Network's here. So is Hulk Hogan. We're ready to go. So have Hulk come out. I'm sure Orton or Triple H or whoever's going to come out and do their thing. I don't like you said. I don't know if he's going to be given the general manager role right away. Maybe Vince McMahon comes out. We haven't seen Vince in a couple months. I would love to see Vince come out. Maybe a Vince and Hogan moment.
I expect Vince to end the show, in all honesty, introducing the WWE Network.
Yeah, I think that would be a smart play. And then with Undertaker, I really see Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman doing a promo, and Brock Lesnar and them just talking about how dominant he is and how there is nobody in the WWE that can stop Brock Lesnar, and boom, lights go out and here we go. It's the
Undertaker. Maybe that's why Brock Lesnar didn't do anything tonight. Maybe that was a legit storyline that they were going to do, and they just switched it up at the end to have Brock and Taker.
Yeah. So I think that's my prediction of how that's going to go. Something along them lines at least. It's just going to be a pretty good Raw. I don't think there's any matches confirmed or anything like that. So who knows how the wrestling is going to be, what the main event's going to be. But it's just going to be a star-filled night with all these stars back. But before we end the show, is there any big surprises you think is going to happen? Somebody that hasn't been mentioned yet that's going to show up?
I don't think so. If they
or
do,
who would you like to see?
I would like to see Sting, but I think I would rather that be held off till WrestleMania, because my whole thing with Sting, I think, deserves that moment at WrestleMania. But other than that, there really isn't anyone. I would like, because I know they're talking about bringing in some of the older WWE people for the network and some older WCW people for the network. I would like them to bring in some ECW people for the network as well. I would like to see Shane Douglas get on Raw, personally, because I know he's had so much problems with the WWE, and and he's not very well liked. But as we've seen in the last couple months with WWE documentaries, they have brought him on in different ways. They brought him on with the McFoley DVD. They brought him on. Who else did they bring on? I know there's at least 2 or 3 that he's actually been on. So,
I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
Oh, you know what? I think it was that 50th the WWE 50 DVD they did. I think Shane was on that one as well. So they've brought him. So I can see that he has some kind of a relationship with Vince and the WWE again. So it would be nice to have one of the main people for ECW on non-Paul Heyman to come in and kind of hype up the network as well, because obviously this network has been talked about as a WWE, WCW, and ECW main libraries, and you've got 2 of the 3 kind of highlighted. So it'd be just cool to bring in someone from ECW. But other than that, there's no one I can really think of off the top of my head that I would like to see return.
Yeah, I agree with you that I'd love to see Sting, but I don't see that happening tomorrow night or anything like that. Actually, the 2 that I would love to see that no one has talked about or mentioned, but they're still a huge part. They're going to be a huge part of the network, and we haven't really seen Stone Cold Steve Austin in a WWE ring in a long time, other than the actual network hype up day. That was the last time we've seen him, if you even watched it online or whatever. So I would love for Stone Cold to come back, or I would love to see The Rock come back for one night.
Yeah, and Stone Cold was rumored, wasn't it just last week that he was rumored to be there?
I'm not sure. I didn't read that, but I think Stone Cold could definitely bring in a lot of people from that era to buy the network and, do it. But you also got to think The Rock could do it too. The Rock could, he could come here right now and poop on a plate and be like, here, eat it. And he could talk me into it, probably.
Yeah. Also, do you think they would bring in Ultimate Warrior for this time?
If they wanted to do like a Hogan versus Warrior showdown, that would be the cool point to do it. But I could maybe see that happening at Mania or whatnot.
Yeah. I don't know if they'd bring Warrior back in before his actual Hall of Fame induction.
I don't think so, but
it would be a cool moment to see Hogan and Warrior face to face in that ring with the Wrestlemania sign in the background. I just think that would be a cool moment.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be something exciting tomorrow. It might not even be something we haven't even mentioned yet.
I hope it's an absolute surprise to us, because that's the best time right now. Because with the internet and everything, there's not many things that are very secretive anymore and surprising to the fans. So anytime there's something that we don't hear about or we don't even expect, I love to see that.
Yeah. So if I had to top it off. Actually, there is one other one that I would like to see, but if I could hear, if you smell what The Rock is cooking, or the glass breaking, or if I could hear a little Cult of Personality fucking kick up at the end of the show, I'd be pretty happy.
I think you and millions others would be pretty happy to hear Cult of Personality right now.
If CM Punk just came out there and beat the shit out of Batista, that would be fucking awesome.
And with that, I think that's going to end this post-show. We usually like to keep these about half an hour, and we're at close to 50 minutes, so we're right on.
Yeah, we ranted there for a little bit, but we needed to talk about the network and what we expected.
Yes, yeah, we haven't mentioned it too much yet, and it definitely deserves mention. And like you said, I'd like to sometime next week maybe have a show where we kind of do a rundown of all the shows that are going to be on there, because we haven't talked at all about NXT, and both of us really do enjoy NXT. So it would be cool to kind of talk about maybe the people that are on the up and up in NXT and close to getting put on the main roster.
Yep. So make sure you guys check us out on Twitter at The Rope Break and Facebook.com The Rope Break as well. Make sure you guys check those out. We post our stuff on YouTube as well. It's at the YouTube/The Rope Break as well.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's always The Rope Break, so we're pretty easy to find. We got all the names we needed to get.
Yep. So make sure you guys check that out. All right. We'll talk to you later.